want to?
Jill, you can go first. Jill, will you talk a little bit about communication and your or the student's role in communication, how they can communicate with you? Is it in-person, email, and the best way that a student can handle communication that's not in an interview or not in a cover letter, and the appropriateness of that?
Sure. So I would say, again, communication is key throughout this entire process. You want to be sure that you're communicating with the recruiter, not every day. You don't need to send us an email every day. A general process, I would say, from when you apply till we get through all of the phone interviews and the go-to-meeting interviews now, and hiring decisions, that could be about a 3 to 4 week time period. So have patience with that. But I would say if you're looking for information or you're looking for an update, don't be afraid to send an email again, maybe a week or two later. Absolutely send the thank you email. Do not forget that. Again, times are a little bit different, but this is all a test. So if we're the three of us are interviewing 20 candidates for a position and 7 of them sent us the thank you for taking the time to interview me type of an email, and the other 13 don't do any sort of follow-up, that's a test really for how you're going to treat our clients someday. We can't teach you some of those skills. Those are just some things that either you have or you don't. So be sure that as you're going through this process, just keep in the back of your mind that communication is still really important. And follow-up is critical. Those are things that are going to make you stand out. Make that thank you very personal and say, hey, Jill, thank you for your time today. Good luck with your painting project you're working on tonight, or something along those lines. Make those things personal, because those are things the three of us are going to remember about you specifically, especially when we're looking at a ton of candidates. And the same thing with those people that you're doing the go-to meeting with. You might not actually physically get to take their business card, but when I'm setting up that interview with you, or whoever's setting that up with you, if we don't provide you the name, which we usually will, but if for whatever reason we don't provide you the name of who you're interviewing with, or maybe a change between when we set it up to when you actually interview, reach back out to me and say, hey, Jill, I want to send a thank you to the interview team. Can you please give me their email addresses? So I feel like once you've passed the initial screening, now you've got the phone interview going on. Make sure your communication is up to par, and go above and beyond to stay communicating with people that are part of the interview process. And follow up is key throughout all of this.
Perfect. Emily, do you want to go next? And then Amanda.
Sure. Yeah, so really everything that Jill shared, I was going to touch on as well, so I won't recap on any of that. I think from a communication standpoint, one thing I would share is it can be tempting, especially in times like these when you're being considered for an interview, to want updates constantly, and Jill had kind of mentioned that. It's pretty typical in the business world for 1 to 2 days to get back to an email. So if you send an email asking a question, give it a little bit of time. If it's been about 2 days and you haven't heard back, then it's appropriate to send a follow-up or call the recruiter or whoever you're working with for the role. But doing so more than that, or more frequently than that, while it shows that you're really interested, it can also be very burdensome, because typically there's a reason why they haven't gotten back to you yet. They might have to be communicating with someone internally, or they've been out of the office, or something to that nature. So just be patient. They will get back to you in time. And then if you do have to send a follow-up, just be respectful about it. Always use careful communication. More emails and seeing now have emojis in them, they have spelling errors in them, they might not have a greeting or a thank you at the end. So make sure you're using proper email etiquette for that. That does help you stand apart from other candidates. And then, like Jill had mentioned too, for thank you notes, for some roles, almost every candidate sends a thank you. So don't be that one person who stands out for the wrong reason. Like, make sure that that's kind of your standard practice, that within 24 hours of the interview, just send a quick email.
So I agree. So I would just add things. So one of the things that we've noticed is that when a student is taking themselves out of the process, that all of a sudden there is no communication at all. And remember, that gives you a brand as well. And sometimes it's taking this up on the process. Sometimes you've already committed and then all of a sudden you're not communicating with your team or your potential new team. And that says a lot about who you are. I believe nowadays it doesn't take a lot to send a quick email saying thank you for everything, but unfortunately, I've had to change of heart, or I've changed, I'm going to pursue something different, or that aligns more with what my future major is, or whatever it is. You don't necessarily have to explain it a ton, right? We understand there's personal boundaries, but to hear from a candidate when they're out of the process or out of the position is very, very important. So take that time to have that type of communication as well, even though it might be scary or it might, make you nervous or uncomfortable. But that impression will last. And please know that we all know each other, right? I have seen Jill and Emily on campus before, and if I get wind about a certain candidate, or they bring somebody up, and that's my impression, that might be what I share. So please remember that no communication as well, once you've maybe potentially had the job or left the process, is important as well. So I would definitely consider that as a piece as you're thinking about your communication with other employers.
Go ahead, Jill. You have something to say.
Yep, I just wanted to add on to what Amanda's saying, about the whole ghosting piece too. We are still in the competitive nature of recruiting. So if you are in the midst of getting a couple of different offers from a couple of different companies, just let us know that. Be transparent in the communication, because again, this is no different than any other time of the year when we're extending offers, and we would much rather have you accept the right offer than just be like, yep, I'm taking this, and then 6 months down the line you're going to be in Chelsea's office like, oh, I really didn't want to work at this company, I wanted to work at this one instead, but I accepted this offer, now what do I do? So if you are contemplating offers, just let us know that. We understand that you likely are getting a couple different offers, so be sure when you do accept the offer that you've given it some consideration, and you do know this is the company that you do want to intern for or work for after graduation, that you're not just taking it because, oh my gosh, this company's not hiring right now. Well, in 3 months, the company you wanted to work for might be hiring. So stay connected, and just, again, be in touch with the recruiters, and don't just ghost us. Just open communication is really critical.
Yeah, and students, I'm going to add, these individuals here are certainly giving their time and their information, but the recruiters that we work with and those that interview on campus and partner with us are really quite amazing. And they are there to work and help and develop students in a lot of different areas. So I found to be very genuine when we reach out with a question that maybe you ask of me, and I can reach out to Jill or Amanda and say, what are your thoughts on this? Or can you give me advice so I can help a student? So just know that when they offer to answer those questions, it really is out of genuineness. They're really willing to answer. So thank you all for your answers here, and then thank you all for just really being developmental with students as they go through that process. We always appreciate that.